you being in Australia, you are abreast of a lot of things, a lot of information, right there on the ground. And I want you to go in and share, share some of the information that you have and what you know, and then we'll just let it organically, go where it goes from there.
Yeah, no problem, man. I guess the first thing we got to realize it's pretty much the same oppressors all over the world. So
Hmm.
I guess the behavior doesn't really change wherever they went. So
Hmm.
there's surprisingly a lot of similarities I see between our history and pretty much the Caribbean and America and anywhere else any black people are pretty much.
All right. So Australia, how big is Australia? Give me, a general overview of Australia. What's Australia?
Uh,
We know that the place down on the, go into what, a
it's
breakdown.
very it's a big continent. Like we got every terrain. We got desert, we got snow, we got rainforests. So it's very similar to it's old continent like Africa as well. We got all the minerals the same. We got pretty much every mineral you find in Africa you'll find here, which they seem to be ripping out of the earth here as well. But yeah, it's like
Okay. How long have the people the Aboriginal people there? How long have they said they've been there? What's their oral history or what's their written history? How long is it estimated they've been in Australia?
well, the oldest dating we've got so far is 60,000 years.
60,000 years.
Yeah, and that's actual evidence like fossil evidence. We have DNA dating back to 75,000 years. They say when we migrated out of Africa. In this first migration, there was two migrations. We were part of the first migration.
Oh wow. Okay.
The
And
the first migration resulted in other black people. The second migration resulted in the Asians, the Arabs, everybody else. We were part of a separate migration.
so um one of the things I always see with the people in Australia, is
Yeah,
we notice that they have blonde hair, blue eyes, different different people.
that's from colonization, brother. That's not a natural trait.
That's not natural.
Nah, there's blonde hair naturally in the Pacific, but that's a genetic thing that resulted without European contact. But the blue eyes and stuff like that,
And
it was only
I was
it
of the
was
belief.
only
Go ahead.
pardon? No, what were you saying, brother? I didn't hear, sorry.
I was saying I was of the belief or the understanding that it was a thing was it was a natural thing that that
Yeah,
happens, and that was one of the ways. A lot of times I see people try to levy proof that those phenotypes are not exclusive to Europeans.
yeah, that's true, of course. But I'm saying it's not as prevalent as people think. It's only about 10% of our population may have blonde hair.
Hmm.
It's not like everyone has blonde hair, sort of thing.
Okay.
And like the light color eyes, there is variation. I have an uncle of mine who's very dark skinned and he has blue eyes. So there is some variation between eye colors, but again, for the main part, it's brown eyes. It's just we've been in this place for so long that we have genetic variation like everywhere else. So.
Okay. Cool.
Plus,
So
we had the stolen generations here too, where we had what they would do. They would take anybody mixed up to 1/16th and remove them and try to raise them as white. So there was no sort of you didn't have that passing by ability here. You're black, even though no matter what your percentage, they still treated you in a different way to the general population.
there's kind of a I don't want to say caste system. So is that the appropriate word to call it, a caste system?
It was the basis of apartheid. Like South Africa sent their officials here in the 1820s, sometime like that, and they observed how they divided us up into, half caste, quarter caste, octoroon, vice, on and on. and they went back to South Africa and they formed apartheid. So yeah, it was a caste system.
Interesting. Interesting. Um, how long have Europeans been in Australia? When did they first make get there?
The first time they came here was in the 1470s, but they didn't actually occupy start the invasion till 1788.
1788. And do you know any history of the people who were there before the Europeans got there? What were the name of the what were some of the kingdoms or some of the nations, states, or some of the different significant groups that were there? What were they? You know, do you know anything about them?
Well, my nation is the Gamilaroi nation. We're the second largest nation in Australia.
Can you say that again?
The Gamilaroi nation.
Okay, okay. The Gamilaroi Nation. You'd have to send that spelling to me so I could see that, because I'd like to
Yeah,
look at it.
Gamilaroi, Gamilaroi.
Okay, all right. So that's the second largest nation, and what was the first? What's the first largest nation?
That is the Wiradjuri nation.
Okay,
We had 600 different language groups. Oh no, actually 250 different language groups and nations, and about 600 dialects.
wow. How many dialects do you have, or how many languages do you speak?
Myself, I'm learning my own language again because we're going through a process of decolonization. You know, we're bringing back our culture. But yeah, I can speak a little bit of my language. I'm learning more as we speak, trying to teach my children. So,
Okay, all right. So what's the history of your nation? What were some of the things that you learned about growing up? Um, about your nation? What were some of the things you learned? And is it nation? Was that what they call themselves? They call themselves nations, or is it that just like a modern day colloquialism that you're using to
yeah, it's a modern day form I'm using just to explain the basic.
Mhm.
It was just a language group really. It was, but you're a mass family group. It's a tribe basically in the easiest way to explain it. Tribe, nation, whichever way you want to look at it. They had laws, you had governments. So it's a nation more than a tribe.
Mhm. So
And
so
for my people, I got taught about like the Barano fish traps. That's on my people's land. That's they say the world's oldest remaining man-made structure. It's said to be 40,000 years old, and it's like probably about 9 kilometers of fish traps. And they're using the arch fury, which is part of masonry, which 40,000 years ago. It's pretty amazing.
wow, okay. What were some of the things that the different groups of people there are given credit for, as far as like things
Well,
that
the white people don't give us no credit.
they get no credit?
Yeah, the white people give us no credit, but yeah, we invented aerodynamics. Basically, the boomerang's aerodynamics. Without the boomerang, you can't have planes. So
The boomerang. What else? What were some of the other aspects of the high cultures there? Because like wherever African people have gone, they've always had a high civilization, high culture, mathematics,
yeah,
sciences.
the boomerang is mathematics in itself. Like I said, it's a form of aerodynamics. It involves a form of flight. You had the Woomera, which was the fastest repeating weapon before the invention of the self-loading rifle.
Mhm,
We had the earth science still, where we lived in balance with nature. We didn't build to that degree, but we had the same science. We have evidence of astrology back to 30,000 years of astrology. We have an understanding of eclipses long before the Italians discovered it in 1700s.
mhm.
We understood the sun, the Earth around the sun. We had massive amounts of science hidden within our spirituality and our culture.
So as you're growing up as a young man, right? And I'm sure what age? Break down the different levels of like things that you go through as you're coming up. Are you completely integrated into the colonial, you know, Australia of today?
Um, Yeah, I'm an urban youth. I grew up in the urban environment. I grew up in Sydney, which is about 5 million people. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a very. We have our pockets. There's only about 500,000 of us within this whole country, so we don't really
Altogether,
have
or
large.
that's altogether, or that's just your nation alone.
That's all together. That's period in the whole. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
They did a good. They did a good job on the genocide. They actually. Yeah.
And how many people? Um, how many people were there before the invasion started? How many people is estimated that was, what was the population like? Because it's reminiscent of what we hear about in America with the Native Americans.
Yeah, but I guess you could think about America be combine the black and the native experience because we're black natives. So we got the native experience plus the black experience combined. So we got that total.
Mhm.
For before invasion would probably be about 5 million
Five.
at least.
Okay.
But they constantly underestimate it. They try and say, oh, there's only they try to say there was less numbers now than there was then, but it's impossible.
Okay. Okay. So there were five,
Yeah,
upwards of
we
five.
also had like
What's the total population of Sydney is 5 million, right? That's what you just said.
yeah, total population of the country is around 22 million, I think,
On
or
22 million.
22.
And what's the percentage breakdown for everybody?
It's I think we're 1.2% of the population.
So the majority, 98 or 99% of the people there are European.
And then we probably have about another 500,000 African brothers and sisters, and maybe another 500,000 Melanesians. So probably about 1.5 million all up in total black people.
Okay, so is the racial dynamic, is pretty divided. I mean, not even divided, because divided would seem like, it's something to deal with. You can measure. It's disproportionately divided. That's what I'm trying to say. There's
Yeah,
it's a disproportionate.
they heavily, yeah, they made it on purpose. It wasn't by mistake.
Mm. Um, what's the I'm trying to get a sense, because I've never been to Australia. I've heard about it. I know a couple of people that live there. I don't really know too much about it. Um,
Yeah,
right now it's 10:30 here. What's the time over there?
here it's about 12:30 p. No, yeah, 12:30 p.m. Monday night.
So you're about 14 hours ahead of this side of the world.
That'll be about right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, and 20 million people, 99% of them are European. Where are most of these Europeans from?
Mainly British, Scottish, Irish, Italians, Greeks.
Does the government there go out their way to bring people to Australia from out of Europe, or was this something that happened, from in the 1700s, and people, how does how do you how did that number get so big?
Basically, the first fleet you always hear about, they came here, the convicts you always hear about, it wasn't as wide as they make it to be out. There was about 26 African people on the first fleet, and they were convicts too. We integrated them into our cultures. We freed them, and they used to come into our nations. And from about then they did the blackbirding, where they did slavery of us and slavery of Melanesian people. So then the black population rose again, and then they got a bit worried, the white people, so they brought out this thing called the White Australia policy.
Mhm.
And what it was, they deported all the Melanesians back to their islands,
So their
pushed
island,
us back.
about how many islands are off the mainland?
Off Australia, there's a massive amount of islands off the top of Australia. They're all the Melanesian ones. You have Fiji, you have Papua New Guinea, West Papua, you got New Caledonia, Vanuatu, Solomon Islands, Torres Strait Islands. Yeah, there's a massive amount of islands.
I remember studying or watching something, I should say, where they were talking about how there's a high rate of drug abuse among aboriginals, where they kind of just there's a lot of drunkenness and stuff. Is that how do you see that? How did the people become like that?
It's the same stereotype they say about us in America. It's the same stereotype they say about us in the UK. Like, it's
Mhm.
just, that's what they want. If that's what they always say, but you look at the percentage, the white population is way more drug addicted than we are.
They're more
They drink.
way more addicts to substance abuse and everything. So
Yeah.
what are the significant what are the which organizations or what's going on as far as like the indigenous population there? What are they doing to try to like push back? Is there any pushback? Is there any organizations? Is there anything to just become independent of like the current situation?
Yeah, we're pushing for sovereignty now because we never had a treaty either. Because when they claimed this country was uninhabited by human beings. They said we were a former monkey, so we were never given a treaty at all. So we never signed a treaty. So our sovereignty is still technically there. So we're now trying to apply for sovereign nations, and we have two nations. I think four nations currently standing up as sovereign nations, and hopefully we'll get more soon. But yeah, that's the push now is for sovereignty.
Okay. Who is the main voice for that? Who are the main organizations for that? Is there such a thing as like the leader of a movement there, and who's that person? Who's the most prominent person out there making that push?
Um, we don't really have leaders in that same sort of sense. Even in our culture, traditionally, we didn't have a chiefs. We had
No.
circles of elders. So we never had like that king or chief aspect. We just had the circle of elders, and it was like and less of a leadership role. Like it's a group effort. So it's more about the tribal nations themselves doing it.
Okay, but so who are the ones? I mean, there got to be some vanguard. Who's the vanguard? Like, if somebody was to say, this guy speaks for all of us, not that he's our leader, but who is that person? Who is that voice? Like, a lot of people believe that Minister Farrakhan in America is the leader for Black people here, or if it's not him, it's Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton, or these prominent voices that you see on television or in the newspaper all the time. It doesn't necessarily mean that Black people see them as their leader, but they hold them up as the prominent voices that's always out there, wailing away. So who are some of those voices?
For one, you don't see us on TV here yet, brother. We're still kept off the TV, so
Oh, yeah,
you wouldn't even know. We don't get no issues. Anytime we're on TV is when we do something bad, so you don't get nothing good. But
wow.
yeah, there's a few leaders. There's elders that were like we had the Black Panther Party here back in the days. A lot of those brothers and uncles are still going, and the sisters that were doing that are still going. We had the Marcus guys as well. So we've always had like a
Marcus Garvey movement
connection with it.
was the nation of Islam over there too.
Farrakhan has visited over here. He visited one of our communities. Yeah. So
Okay. What was
we've got some black. There's a small, not small, but it's a growing Aboriginal Muslim movement. So
what was the reaction to Farrakhan's visit there? Was it well received or?
yeah, we received him well. The white people didn't like it. They didn't. Yeah, they've been trying to keep us separated for a long time, so they don't like any sort of bridge building between us and other black people.
Oh, okay. Okay. Um, Australia is definitely an intriguing and interesting place. I mean, you talked a little bit about earlier about and give me one second. Ben, somebody's at my door. Let me see who this is.
Oh, good, bro.
Hello. I'm back, Ben. Sorry about that.
Hey, you gotta get the door. You gotta get the door.
1 second. Yeah. So what's going?
Even remember when remember Jack Johnson when he won his heavyweight belt back in the day down here.
What's his name?
Remember Jack Johnson when he
Jack
won his
Johnson.
belt
Okay.
back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, he won belt down here, and we had him like he was a guest of the Garvey movement down here when he was here.
Okay. Is that Garvey movement still prominent there, or is it kind of fizzled now?
Yeah, they did this. It was pretty much the government took it out like the same way they did elsewhere. So it's the same tactics. They just destroyed the credibility and.
Wow, man. There's a lot of history all over the world and a lot of
Even
different.
I hear you got a West Indian accent, bro. We had like
Yeah.
West, even though we had
I was born in
we had,
I was born in Jamaica, man. So
nice. We had a brother from Trinidad come here back in the days. He helped pretty much helped us form our Black Power movement, probably in the 1950s. Horace Grant, I think his name was Horace Brown.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was born in the Caribbean, man. I was born in the island of Jamaica. Um, of
yeah.
course.
The reggae is massive down here too, brother. All through the Pacific, there's big reggae scenes.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. I really just want to get a sense of like the culture everywhere, wherever it exists, you know, because
That's our flag here, bro.
that's your flag. Show me that again. Go ahead. Tell me about it. Tell me about what the colors and the symbols on it mean.
You got the red is for the blood spilled on the land, the yellow is for the sun, and the black is for the people. And I got the other flag over there.
Okay, that's powerful. Red for the blood, yellow for the sun, black for the land. It's funny
Black
how
is
you
the
see
people.
those colors. You see those colors in so many different flags, you know, especially in Africa and wherever you find black people. You know, we always I don't know if it's because Marcus Garvey really popularized it when with the you know the RBG flag, but you see those colors. If you look behind me, you see the Jamaican flag right there, and it
Yeah.
has the black, the green, and the gold. You know, and the black is for the people, the green is for the land, and the yellow is for the sun. So we're always the sun is always there. You know what I mean?
And for black people, the sun is always important, you know.
Always
This is how
important.
it is. Uh,
Now, Australia is located where? Where is Australia located at? Give us you know some.
wherever you are now, we're about as far away as you can get.
I'm looking on my map. I can see it on my map. It's really towards the southeast of Asia. You know, it's right below Indonesia and
Yeah. Currently, Indonesia right now are killing black people. They've killed over 500,000 black people in West Papua.
in Indonesia. Why? Who's killing them? And why are they killing them?
The Indonesians are killing. They invaded a black country, which is West Papua, which you will see if you look on you'll see it's right above Australia, and that's a Melanesian country. Indonesia invaded it when they got independence, and they have the world's largest gold mine there now,
Wow,
and they've killed over 500,000 black people in the last 10 years.
wow. There's so much things going on, so many places all over the world. Um, and we always seem to be suffering at the violent end of it. Uh, what do you think is gonna? What do you think ultimately is the solution to you know the problems that the melanated people in Australia are dealing with and some of the other places? But let's deal with Australia specifically because you're there, and you must have some ideas about what you think would be, a solution or the solution.
We got to decolonize ourselves first and foremost. I think. Well,
How do we do that? How do you guys do that?
that's the problem. There's so many webs in colonization. We think, you got religion, you got so many different things that tie us to this beast, and we think we got it all. It's like, my best, I think of it like a bomb. You cut the wires slowly, and you think you got all the wires, but there's still one wire, and then you blow up. So it's not an easy process. And it's something I'm trying to do myself, but
Mm-hmm.
that's the first step. I think we got to decolonize. We find our own way. Culture is very important. I'm studying social work myself. It's been proven through many studies that the only thing that can help it, like that helps people get better, is education and culture. You have to know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a tree. It's like a tree without roots will fall over. That's how
Mm-hmm. And I was thinking this morning, right? I was thinking about education,
Yeah.
and the more I thought about it, education is always being pushed as as the solution for a lot of our ills, a lot of our problems, right? Not education in terms of like, not education in terms
I'm
of
not talking about
no.
white man's education.
I know, but I want to segue to it because like it's something that I was thinking about, but not education in terms of what you're talking about as far as knowing your history and knowing your culture and who you are. Not that, but I'm talking about education in the sense where, and it's important. It's not that it's not important, but it's being pushed so heavy. Go to school, get good grades, get educated, and even though that's important, it's missing. I think what's missing from the whole thing is the spirituality, not religion, but spirituality. Understanding that we are sharing this world with other sentient beings, other living things, and there must be a balance, right?
Yeah.
That means that because this is the most. If you really look at it and study it, educated people are the ones who are destroying the world, destroying our world. Because if the ignorant person can't make no bomb, ignorant person can't genetically modify the food and food stuff. It's educated people who are doing that, but because they don't have the spirituality, they are missing that balance. And so, in the interest of like making money or dominating other people, all this stuff is being done and being pushed forward, and it's causing major problems on the planet. So
Fully agree. No, I think like exactly what you said, brother. Like it's a different type of knowledge. If you got to look at how black people have been on this earth for hundreds of thousands of years, and we didn't make no nuclear bomb. We had the ability to make a nuclear bomb, but we didn't make a nuclear bomb because that's not the sort of knowledge we were interested in. We were in knowledge it's about the balance. Their interest is in knowledge about warfare, about making money. So it's a different aspect of knowledge that they push. And I think that's what we have to go back to, our own knowledge, which is not focused in their areas. We're focused in complete knowledge. You can't build a pyramid without having complete knowledge, you know what I
exactly. It's a lot of things. It's very I'm a what you call a deep thinker, right? I sit down or just this is my daily routine. I open my spirit up to think about things and to process things. What I mean? On a deeper level, because I want to understand. I just don't want to be bantering and going on talking. I want to understand. How we got here. How we gonna how does things move forward? How do we move forward? Because like sometimes we're so short-sighted. We only see. We think that 500 years is a lot of time. You know what I mean? But if you've been here for like you said, hundreds of thousands of years, 500 years is a drop in the bucket.
mean? Yeah.
So
Look at the complete history. It's nothing. We give credence to all these young religions like they're doing something new. And yeah.
exactly, and so it's like if you look at Europeans, they're like children who just basically, are they've been crawling around, now they're walking, but they're still babies in terms of the
Yeah,
length of time that they've been on the planet. So the amount of
they're not even babies. They'll still be like sperms compared to us.
yeah, they still like babies. So they don't have a lot of they don't have the length of history that we have to know what we really know. And even a lot of us have forgotten what we really know. You know what I mean? We have forgotten. We don't. We have bought into now. It's like the parents are following the children, because the way even the way we structured our civilizations and our groups and our whatever, it wasn't set up the way how it's set up now. Now you have all these countries, all these borders, and all these things that restrict you and connect you to things that you weren't necessarily connected to, and it's causing problem because, like, we didn't have all these borders, but everybody knew where they were. Everybody
We didn't
everybody
have,
everybody
but we still
coexisted.
had respect.
Yeah, everybody coexisted. It's just like
Yeah,
everybody coexisted, and of course you had conflicts just like anything else, but everybody still coexisted and still were able to do what they needed to do and get what they need to get done. But today you have all these countries, right, that were basically created
after
200
World War Two.
300 years ago, or less. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Africa, they went into Africa with the Berlin Conference and divided up the whole place like a pie. Drew all these
yeah.
lines and say this was this and that was that, and this is what we're living in right now. And so we're trying to function in a paradigm that doesn't work for us. We're trying to function in a governmental structure that doesn't work for us. We're trying to do things that, I mean, it just doesn't work for us, because that's not how we, it's not a part of our genetics to think like that and to live like that. You know what I
Not
mean?
natural.
So if everything is just about making money, you're gonna destroy yourself to do that. It can't just be about making money. Look at all the stuff that making money has done so far. Look at all the destruction it's caused. Look at all the people who are suffering, while a few people, you know, are living high with their pockets overstuffed. You have poverty, you have homelessness, you have diseases, you have all these things that, if we just understood, if we just shared and took care of each other the way the earth takes care of us, because the earth was like, if the earth thought like us, none of us would basically have anything. You know what I mean? Because it would just be like, yo, you got to pay me for the air you breathe. You got to pay me for the water you're going to drink. You got to pay me for the food that I'm growing. You know what I mean? But it gives to all of us freely.
I got an idea about that sort of stuff, bro. Like in our languages, we have no word for I. Everything is we. So it's like, we're gonna eat, we're gonna go, and it's not the individual. And once you start breaking things, this whole modern society is about the individual, and it breaks it down to the individual level. But the individual himself is powerless. That's why they break it down to the individual,
Mm.
because the group is what has the power.
The group.
Yeah, and that's what we moved as a group. We didn't move as individuals. That's not our way. It's like we were saying. We don't move the same way as them. We move in ways that were in tune with nature. We didn't take more than we needed. We lived for hundreds of thousands of years. They've been running the world for what, since the last 2,000 years, and the place is fucked. It's gone.
Wow. So the last 2,000 years and all the devastation, all the wow, it's crazy. It is truly,
That's
truly crazy.
that's evidence, brother. You can't lie. You can't say that's not true because it's factual. We've been here for the oldest DNA they found now was from our brother in the States. He was 400,000 years old. That was how far his DNA went back. So
That's the
400,000 years that took them.
the oldest DNA they found.
Yeah, brother traced back to the Cameroons.
Okay.
And that was before that. We have the skeletons in Ethiopia. I think 160,000 years. That's the oldest fossil evidence. But yeah, that's the oldest DNA evidence is 400,000 years. So
Okay, well, what
for that long.
in Australia, you talked about a structure, one of the oldest man-made structures, about 40,000 years, is still there in Australia. Tell me about that.
Got the Borona fish traps, and it's about 6 to 9. I don't know. That's kilometers. We use kilometers, so about maybe 3 to 4 miles, I think, of fish traps, which was made 40,000 years ago, and it's for the for us to live sustainably in balance with nature. We didn't take more than we needed. We trapped what we needed. We let it. We know what we didn't need to go, and it fed all the surrounding nations. Our not just one nation, but the nations used to come on our land, and we traded as a form. We had a postal service which went straight across the continent. You could send a postage item from any tribe to any other tribe, and we get to that tribe, no worries.
And how
And
did
this
that
is
work?
50 through a message stick. We had message sticks, and that message stick would go from one tribe to the next until it reached the owner. We didn't have theft. There was no stealing, so none of that sort of stuff happened. So
Wow.
we had a universal sign language as well because of the so many languages. We had to have a way to communicate between tribes. So there was a universal sign language.
Wow. That's dope. That
But
is
yeah,
that is awesome, man.
like it's part of the black world. It's an extension. I think we get it. Everyone forgets about us a lot of the time. That's what made me mention you because you're posted. I was like, man, what's going on?
So yeah, I mean how did the calendar system there work in Australia, in your tribe, in your nation? Did they have
We
12?
had
Did they have
we
7
had
days
like
a week?
like depends on each tribe. In some nations had up to 36 months in a year because we used the months as a way to dictate when food was ready. It would tell you which was available to eat. We used the calendar as a science. We didn't use calendar for just keeping your dates about what you got to do. We used it to tell you what's available to eat. The stars and the moon would you could tell from that what seasons were coming to the next season. We had a lunar calendar because that's the only true way to tell time. Once one full moon is finished, that's a month. The next full moon's finished, that's another month.
Mhm.
That's why you see a modern calendar. It's all over the place compared to the moons. Um, yeah, like the same. It's a lot of people define us as being Aboriginal, but Aboriginal is more a continental term, I guess, because you could say African in the same sense. But look how many different cultures you have within Africa. So they lumped us all together into this one term a lot of the time.
Okay. So
And I think they say that between Africa, Australia, and Papua New Guinea, I think you have 2/3 of all the world's languages.
wow. Wow. I definitely wanna keep this conversation and dialogue going. Um, I'd love for you to even bring in some other people. The next time we talk, maybe we could do it at an earlier time. I know it's pretty late, and so I'd have to adjust the adjustment would have to take place on my end, probably more so because by the time I get up, you're getting ready to go to bed.
That time difference doesn't make it easy, bro.
So are you a nocturnal person? Are you a person that stay up all hours of the night, or
If I have to, I do. If it's something for a good cause, I'll be up.
well,
But other than that, wifey be mad, but other than that, it's all good.
let's definitely keep the conversation going, man. I mean, Australia is definitely intriguing. I'm gonna do some more research on it, and
I'll send
like
you
I
some
said,
more stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
too.
I'd love to get some more people also on with you. So, we could open it up and really just like, go into some more of the history and some of the
Yeah,
things that's going on currently as well.
yeah, it's no problem, bro. We can organize that. No problem.
All right. Well, so anything else you want to share with us, Ben? Please, now's the time. Go ahead, get it in, and let us know how we can get in contact with you. If anybody needs to reach out to you to ask you a question, how can they reach you? Uh, go ahead.
First thing I'd like to make, I guess, is we're all family in the end, so we have to start thinking of each other as family. We can't think of each other as these little separate groups of black people wherever we are in the world. We're going through the same things, so
Mhm.
same issues. It's the same people doing it to us, whether it's Arabs, whether it's Europeans, whether it's Asians. Like Dr. John Henry Clark said, we have no friends, and we only have each other. So I think we would appreciate support, and we always support our family in America. We have, for Ferguson, we had down here against Ferguson. We had rallies for Mike Brown. We have the same problems down here, deaths in custody.
Mhm.
We're locked up. We're incarcerated at pretty much the same rate. We make up 2% of close to 2% of the population, but we make up 4% of the jail population. So we understand the mass incarceration issues very, very well.
That's big.
Um, yeah, so like I said, same issues, different places. What I always say. I've got a lot of friends from the states that have moved out here. But we
Do
get
people,
along.
do people Because do people see you? How do you ever get confused? People ever get you confused with Europeans because obviously you're not a dark skinned man, but you identify yourself as a black person. Is that because you have tell me about that? Tell me about your background a little bit because people are just
Well,
gonna hear you talking and they're gonna say, well, this brother looks he does they can't see you that well because the thing, but they're gonna probably think that you are not black, and sometimes
yeah,
just clear that up for us.
yeah, it's understood. Which is, I think we should always question anybody if we have issues with what they look like. We should question them. But for my people ourselves, we go by my tribe. We go by our mothers. And my mother was black. Was mother was black, and my mother's mother's black, and my mother's mother. So we're matriarchal people. So as far as my tribe is, I'm considered part of my tribe. That's how I was brought up. Here we didn't really have that thing where you were lighter skinned or you would look like a white person, you got treated a better way. We had the stolen generation. So it doesn't matter what you look like, it was what your blood percentage was how you were treated. It doesn't matter about appearance. You had
So they do have
people with
that,
blonde hair.
the blood percentage thing in Australia. You was talking about that earlier. Before we
Yeah,
cut off, go into that a little bit. Tell us a little because in America they had the 3/5, you know, rule.
yeah, they said that about us too. That's why that was back to how they conquered Australia. When they took Australia, they said Australia was terra nullius, which in Latin means land uninhabited, and they said we were 3/5 human beings. All that bullshit.
350.
They
You
like
were 3/15 human being.
Yeah, we were not the same level human as them, so that's why they could take Australia and not give us a treaty. They just say you could kill Aboriginal people. We became human beings under Australian law in 1967.
Oh my God.
So before that, we were classified under flora and fauna. So that's how they treated us. You could technically do whatever you wanted to us, but what they did was this thing called the stolen generations, and it was if you were any mixture of non-Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal, so if you were half Asian, half white, half whatever, you were taken away. If you were a quarter, you were taken away. If you were 1/8, you were taken away. If you were 1/16, you were taken away.
Taken away
And
where?
what they did is you were taken away to be used as basically child labor, and you were given to a white family to be used as a house pet, basically to be molested, to be sexually abused.
And if
That
you
was
were
basically
100%, what happened to you then? Same thing.
they were saying they were basically hunting us down anyway. So it wasn't no better. Like you either get hunted down and shot, or you get molested and treated as a slave. So there's no like I don't see there's any better. You were stuck either way. So
Mhm.
they considered us to be fully, 100% person to them was considered the 3/5 human being, and then once we got mixed, we were the octoroon, a quarter caste, a half caste, whatever they decided the label was. But within us, we identify either you're black or you're not. We don't go half caste, quarter caste, I'm biracial, none of that stuff. We just say and it's due to family. We can trace our family tree. People know my family. They're not going to call me out and say, it's not like some Rosa Dazelle shit in America where my mum and dad's going to come out and say, nah.
All right. So,
That shit won't work here.
um, yeah, that's interesting. That's very,
There's a
very
good movie about the stolen generations. I don't know if you've seen it, called Rabbit Proof Fence. It's
rabbit
a
proof fence.
Yeah, it's a true story about a lady who had her kids who herself, and then she had her kids stolen, and her children's kids were stolen. So my oldest cousin was stolen as well because they stopped stealing their kids in was it 1974 officially. They stopped stealing the kids, yeah.
Wow.
But they
Nice.
still take them away today. They're still taking them away, but now it's called community services now. But yeah, not official policy anymore.
What's the prison situation over there like in America? You know, like we make up black men here make up 6% of the population roughly, and I
Yeah,
don't know exactly how much of the prison, but I know it's a significant amount. Some people say up to 55% of the prison population is you know, black men or black people. What is it like there if you make up one, I don't know how much percentage, 1.2% of the overall population? What's the prison population there like?
84%.
84% of the prison population is black people?
Yeah. Western Australia has the highest rates of incarceration of black people in the world, male, female, and juvenile.
Oh my fucking God. Are you serious, man?
So they're looking up sisters at the same rate as they're looking up brothers. Like they're just looking up everybody in this.
4% of the prison population of a people that make up 1.2% of the overall population is black.
Yeah, that's Western Australia. If you look at that whole country, it's probably still about 60%.
So Western Australia is 84%, but the whole overall it's about 60%.
Yeah,
Wow.
but still, look at the numbers. The numbers of juvenile, it's 90% of juvenile we make up.
How do you not hate the Europeans? Or do you hate them? Is that too strong of a
He
term
said,
to
he said, I don't hate them, but I don't hate anyone, brother. But I'm not very much. I'm not friendly with them either. Let me just say that.
Okay. All right. So are there people there that hate them though? Because you know I could speak frankly about people here who have no qualms to use that word.
Yeah, like I'll fight them. I'm not saying I don't like. I'm not going to fight them, but I don't hate anyone. I just hate this. Hate's just going to lead you down something else. They're just going to go. That's what I think. You know what I mean? But you can not like a people. You can do that. You can be like, we're ready to fight. Don't get me twisted. But I'm
Okay.
just not. I'm not. I don't hate. I don't hate any man. You know what I mean?
Got you. But you understand what I mean. When I say hate, I don't mean, you know, I mean
Yeah, yeah.
you understand what I mean. Like, but um, have you ever experienced anything personally? What are some of the things you've
But I'm
experienced?
saying, I just say it like that because that's like you get some crackers that will say I hate black people.
Yeah.
That's what hate is. We have a reason to hate them. We don't just hate them for no reason. It's a different thing. You know what I mean?
Mm.
We have actual reasons for these feelings of dislike and distrust and fucking.
Exactly. And that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. I'm not getting at like some ignorant, or I hate you because you're white, or I hate you because, you know, but when you look at you
Yeah,
have children, right? And you know that
yeah,
you're saying there's a whole thing with stolen generation. They're stealing the kids and shipping them off to work for people and to treat them like pets. And you know, 1% of the nation's population and 60% of the country's prison inmates. And then in West,
that's why I didn't get married to no white person, brother.
and then all these rules. I mean, is it really? What how do the people there, the Europeans who basically are in power, what are what percentage of their populations feel like the treatments of the Aboriginal people is wrong? Because they you know I just curious. Is there any sector of their population that is really up and out trying to correct or bring some kind of measure of justice to the injustices that's been
There are, but the problem lies in that they have that problem where they think they can speak for us. And like they want to help us by helping us how they think we should be helped. We have to have our own to help ourselves. We have to.
yeah,
You can't help us by.
they want to dictate the terms and everything. What are some of the things that what are some of the issues that melanated people have had with them, especially the ones who are trying to help? What are some of the poignant issues? What are some of the issues that really are hindering like that connection between those who are trying to help and those who need the help?
It's that whole aspect of that great white savior. They think they can come in and organize black people into something that they think will work for them. But we have to organize ourselves. It's not them that has to be happy with the results. We have to be happy with the results.
Mm-hmm.
It's not dictated by. It's like the racism thing. It's like, oh, they don't like what people now like to say. Oh, racism's gone. Like you don't like it's like you don't act the rape victim where she was raped. It's not like racism is the same thing. It's not up to the racist to decide whether there's racism or not.
I like that. I like the way you put that. That is so you hit it right square on the head with that one.
I said that to my teacher, brother. Like I have a problem with the Eurocentricness, like we were saying before, of education. Like I'm up there in my school, and in front of a lecture, the school says, Australia was invaded or it was settled, depending on your perspective. And I said, what? There's no perspective to invasion. Like, you invaded our country. You can't say it was settled because we were white, and it was invaded because you're black. It doesn't work that way. It's like I said. So if a woman is raped, is it the perspective of the rapist that decides whether it was rape or not, or is it the rape victim that decides whether it was rape or not?
Mm.
And the simplest way you can put it, it's not them that decides what is wrong. It's the person that's getting victimized that decides what is wrong.
Did is there any political organizations that are formed on behalf of the Aboriginal populations there?
The problem is the numbers, brother. We just like, even if we get everybody in a party, we got 500,000 people versus 19 million people in the vote. Doesn't
But
work.
what about what about the local politics? I mean, even in America here, right? There's about 45 million black people here, which is still, compared to if you look at the overall American population, which they say is roughly around 400 million people. It's not that everybody else that's not black is white, because there's a mixture of like Asians and Latinos.
Yeah, we got a lot of Asians here too, but they just run the status quo. The Asians happy running that middle ground. Yeah.
All right, so what I'm trying to get at is like a sense of unity, because even if you have 500,000 people, what's the sense of unity there? Are people united, or or what's the state of like people trying to work together?
Yeah, we're going towards that unity. Again, it's like I said, it's a continent. We were lumped all together as one people, but we're not all one people. It's like saying
there you go.
You compare it to Africa. Whereas Africa is still trying to that same unity, but these ideas of unity that they always give us, I don't know if it's ever been fulfilled anywhere in the world. But yeah.
I know sometimes Ben, like the way I look at that, I know it's not necessarily probably what it's not our way really, but the way I look at it, right?
Yeah.
We were different nations, different groups of people. Yes, we had the same complexion, same phenotypes, and but we had different belief systems and different ways we went about doing stuff. And that's what I was talking about when I was saying we didn't necessarily have borders, but we had, we established ourselves and our kingdoms and our empires and our civilizations, and we coexisted even with other nations. They knew where they were and we knew where we were, and so on and so forth. But now you have, it's kind of like black people in America, right? They took so many people out of Africa that after a while they lost track of where everybody came from. So they couldn't say, oh, you're Nigerian.
They didn't want to keep track.
Huh?
Well, they didn't want to keep track either. They did the same thing to us. They moved us all over
Yeah,
the
so
place.
so you still today you have Europeans and they could tell you, I say like I asked you earlier, where are they from? And you said, oh, they're from Britain, they're from Ireland, they're from Italy, they're from so a lot of Europeans today still know where they're from. When you come to them and they say, I'm Italian American, I'm German American, I'm French American, I'm this American. Black people are just called African Americans, but Africa is a continent. It's
Yeah.
not a country. It's
Well,
a
that's correct.
continent with multiple countries. So we can't, I don't know, if sometimes that's a blessing or a curse. I think it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because like now you could claim the whole entire continent and all that it basically represents, all the different cultures, all the different histories, but you've lost the specific part, identity of yourself. You've lost the knowledge of, like, where you were before they came and snatched our people up and did what they did. So I can't say if I'm Nigerian American. I can't say if I'm Ghanaian or a Mauritanian or Angolan or Ethiopian. They just group you under this one blanket African American. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, like I said, in a grand view, you know, you're not gonna reject that, because, like, like, I was born in Jamaica, but I will not, like Marcus Garvey said, I won't give up a continent for island. You know what I'm saying? I won't give it up. So, and all the people there are my people.
And I
But
look at the
we
same
belong
way,
to,
brother. That's what I say. We
yeah,
left Africa 10 years ago, and I still look at it as the same as me.
exactly. So you still have to hold on to yourself however you can, and find the strength where it was meant to make you weak, because you know you have a whole library. You just don't have one book, you have a whole library. You see what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
have a whole library. That's what a continent gives. It's the whole library. A
We
country,
got a whole world. It ain't just a continent. We got the whole
the
world, brother.
whole entire world. But because really and truly, we pick all these different spots, and we claim them, and then we kind of abscond or give up other parts of the world that also belong to us, because, like,
Yeah.
Europe belongs
You
to
gotta know
us,
where it starts.
Asia belongs to us, all the islands belong to us, you know.
Yeah.
But we latch on to Africa, we latch on to all these different land masses, and it's, rightfully so. But we should also, like you said, be cognizant that it's the whole entire world.
Yeah. But we also, like you said, to be clinging of where the motherland is. We went to Australia. We didn't come from Australia. So, and eventually we came here as well. So,
Yeah, there you go. Well,
the combination of both.
I really enjoyed this talk, Ben. This was a very enlightening conversation. And like I said, let's keep this conversation, this dialogue going, and um, I'd love to speak with some more Australians there, and if you could be the connection for that to happen, that would be great. You know. That
No
would
problem, man. No, be my pleasure, brother. No problem at all.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you again. If you want to say give some final remarks and let people know they could contact you, now's the time.
Yeah. If you want to contact me, you can find me on Facebook under Benjamin Lawson, or you can get me at Gmail, Gamilaroi, GAMILAROI 1978 at Gmail. Um, yeah, if you want to check out what our culture looked like prior to invasion, there's a movie called 10 Canoes, which was set 400 years before invasion, and it's the first all indigenous movie. So it's a good little snapshot of our culture.
Repeat that again. What's the name of that movie?
10 Canoes.
10 Canoes.
Yep, that's the one.
Ten.
It's all in Aboriginal language, so you're gonna have to watch some subtitles. So
I don't. I don't. I'm not sure if I got the name right, because your accent is a little hard sometimes to understand. Just like I
yeah,
think mine is
10.
sometimes.
I get you. I hear you straight on, brother. Reggae in my tongue.
Yes, Rasta. All right.
I got a few Caribbean brothers out here anyway from St. Kitts.
Man,
Couple
that's what I'm
from
saying.
from the Bahamas.
Invite them the next time we talk, man. Let's bring the whole family together and let's sit down and have a good, a good talk, man.
We're organized. We just have to figure out the time difference and be all good.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I mean, like, I'm usually up pretty late in the night anyway, so by the time I'm getting ready to go to bed, you probably fully up, and we'll work it out. But you said the
Yep,
movie is
sounds good.
called Ten Canoes like boats.
Yep, that's the one.
10 Canoes. TEN.
Yep. Yep.
All right. So we got family. Make sure y'all look that up. Check that movie on 10 Canoes. It's the first indigenous full indigenous movie about what life was like in Australia prior to colonization. Is that right?
Yep, about 500 years before colonization.
Okay, beautiful. So I gotta check that out. Let me see if that's on
One more thing for you. If you get a check, it's a documentary called Coconut Revolution, and
Coconut.
it's on the Bougainville Revolution, and it was a people brothers were fighting with bows and arrows, and they beat off a modern army.
I'm gonna check
Yeah,
that
it's
out.
on you'll find that one on YouTube.
I'm gonna check all of those out as soon as I can. I had a friend that came out there and did some documentary work. A guy named Ishmael Blackgrove. You ever heard of him?
No,
He's
the
from
name
out
sounds a bit.
he's from out of the UK, and he does a lot of documentary stuff. And I remember him coming out there and doing some stuff with the Aboriginal communities and just showing life, everyday life, and struggles. And
Yeah, the brother from the UK, Akala, he came out here not too long ago.
okay, okay, and of
Yeah,
course you said Renuka Rashidi has been out there too.
yeah, he came out here last year. He gave a conference, full history of the black struggle. It was good. We had a good mix of everyone. We had a lot of indigenous black people. We had a lot of international black family there. It was a good night.
Hmm. Well, all right then, Ben. I'm gonna let you go now, man. I want to say thank you again for talking with us today. Of course, I am Tahat 9. This is Mind TV, where we provoke thoughts and inspire thinking. So make sure you switch your minds on, keep it switched on, and hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel. Help us to build this platform. Share, comment, like, just help us out by hitting that subscribe button and of course share this video with your social media. Ben, thank you again, and until we talk, stay strong, brother.
Thanks, brother.
All right, peace out.
Peace.